far-sighted, the sky has never been so clear. Hello to the hopeful, goodbye to the full of fear. Glorious, luminous, the heavens are painted, help push you with angel wings. And you know in your heart that the far-sighted see better things. To all the far-sighted, the sky has never been so clear. Hello to the hopeful, goodbye to the full of fear. Glorious, luminous, the heavens are painted, help push you with angel wings. And you know in your heart that the far-sighted see better things. Hello, you daydreamers, hello to the in-between. Behold all you've wished for, promising things unseen. Glorious, luminous, the rockets are burning, the dreamers are at full swing. The heavens are painted, help push you with angel wings. And you know in your heart that the far-sighted see better things. Far-sighted see better things. The far-sighted, far-sighted see better things. The far-sighted, far-sighted see better things. Hello to the burnouts, the left out and left behind. For far-sighted drifters, matchless, one of a kind. Glorious, luminous, the rockets are burning, the dreamers are at full swing. The heavens are painted, help push you with angel wings. And you know in your heart that the far-sighted see better things. Far-sighted see better things. The far-sighted, far-sighted see better things. The far-sighted, far-sighted see better things. To all the far-sighted, the sky has never been so clear. Hello to the hopeful, goodbye to the full of fear. Glorious, luminous, the heavens are painted, help push you with angel wings. And you know in your heart that the far-sighted see better things.
All right, best to lower your expectations, because I can't really guarantee anything that's going to be great. But this is more about me having accountability, why I work, and being able to stay focused on what I'm doing while I pour myself some $9 wine and get going. I don't sip either. I gulp. Balmer, it's good to see you. 0B? 0B? OB? 0B? I think it's 0B. Thanks for being here. And all of you other concurrent viewers. I don't know what you're expecting, but it's have your expectations shattered in a downward motion. Right, Orion, this is not going to help, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I've got a number of things spinning on the old plate. The first of which is getting Gangs of the Undercity fulfilled, and I've got these neat little minis that have come in gradually over the last couple weeks, and I've been putting them in bags. That's my current work right now. I've recruited some of the kids at the local junior high. Like, hey kids, you like minis? And so yeah, every time they help me during their lunch hour, I get about 300 or 400 of these bagged, and I give them a miniature each every time they help me. So far, they've got one miniature, but I have plans to. They said we could do it again on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So hopefully, we'll be getting this stuff done. And child labor, holla! Yeah. So yeah, please don't take this too seriously. The last time I did this a couple nights ago, we worked on a musical. I am just one of those people that does things when the mood strikes, and the mood is striking me tonight to work on this new RPG. So, this new RPG is called Subversion. It is set in the same universe as Gangs of the Undercity, but the tones for the two games are very different. Gangs of the Undercity is basically just gang warfare. There's a couple other elements to it, but that's the basic theme. You take over neighborhoods, you expand your reputation, and it's a tabletop skirmish miniatures war game. But Subversion is not that at all. Subversion is wholly different, set in the same universe, but not necessarily in the Undercity, and it has themes of fighting back against oppression. It has themes of community. It has themes of kind of being your best, getting and being and staying and failing to be emotionally and spiritually and ethically healthy. I know those are big, huge, lofty goals for a role-playing game, but that's the game we're making. So right now I will be basically going through a couple of documents. The first is the alpha document that we have up here right now. The second is... Be quiet, you. The second is the first adventure, if you want to call it. We're calling them episodes. But the first episode that we're using for the playtest, that's called Food is Life. And then I will also be editing some of the pre-gen characters for that mission. So that's what I'm going to be doing. If anybody has any comments or whatever, you want to talk about something else, like I don't think that I'll be so focused that I can't do any of that kind of stuff. So hang out, feel free to chill. You guys like music during stuff? Hey, what's up, Tim? Good to see you. Hey, Aaron, by the way, good to see you. I can never tell if I should have music. So I'm going to go with no for now on, unless I hear somebody say yes, they want music in the background. And I'll just keep going. All right, so basics are all pretty much done. Yeah, I'm not listening to any music I don't know or don't already like, because that will distract me. All right, let's see. If I need input, I will absolutely ask. Right now, again, I'm just doing this so I can focus on something and get it done. Sometimes I work better with music. Sometimes, though, I get distracted by the music I pick. Like, if I pick music that I like, then I want to sing and I want to kind of rock out to it. So it is kind of distracting. Let's see. Cliff says, I suggest the specific mention of the term goal. You set long-term and short-term goals for your envoys. Envoys is what we're calling the PCs, because they act as sort of representatives for their own communities. So it makes sense to state what your envoy is trying to accomplish in terms of defining a goal. And then I replied, but if goals are specific things that are spelled out and given fortune for, shouldn't we differentiate them from the many actions you'll be undertaking each session? Yes. I agree with myself. I think we should definitely keep goals as goals and not use goals as a term for other things. Check your Discord PM. I'm not checking my Discord while I'm doing this, but I'll check it for you. I might. Oh, yeah. Cool, no problem. Do what you need to do, Larry. No big deal. I will ping you if something comes up. All right, let's see. So I'm gonna. I'm just gonna consider that one closed. Move on. If you see something that calls out to here and you want to ask questions about the new RPG, please do. I don't think we're gonna do NDAs. We're just not gonna bother with that stuff. If somebody wants to share our stuff and what we're doing, or whatever, wants to rip it off, whatever. So this is one of the cool things that I actually do like about our RPG, the way that things are shaping up, is that when a conflict starts, and conflict is basically what you think it is, except it's not just necessarily combat. You can basically you have the option of doing one of four things. That's a broad generalization, but you can attack or defend, which should be fairly obvious. Although those are, again, not just combat options. They could be attacking someone's character, right, or attacking someone's argument, or whatever, attacking someone's software. But it's the proactive, opponent-focused action. You could defend yourself, right? Prevent yourself from being attacked. Or you could focus not on the other person or your opponent, but you could focus on the goal that you're trying to achieve. So, for example, if your team is infiltrating a corporation and you want to get the valuable data off a computer terminal, while these other people are trying to either talk you out of it or beat you up. Well, you might have your breacher, the computer specialist, behind you, and he's focused on getting the data, and so he'd be using advanced actions while this is happening. Meanwhile, everybody else might be focused on defending or attacking, against the other people. Of course, if you have a couple of people, or maybe even a couple of people doing the same task that's not attack or defend oriented, you could also counter, which would take progress off of the opponent's advances towards the goal. So if you were both trying to hack into something, if you and an opposing person were trying to hack into the same terminal, then you could counter them, and then their advance would go down, right? So there's a back and forth. That's what I like. I like that. It's gonna make everybody have something to do during combat. And of course, you have other things that are sort of not necessarily part of those 4, like spells or exploits, other abilities, giving orders. Certain gear will have certain actions you can do as well. Tempting Fate is an interesting mechanic that we're throwing around. Tempting Fate allows you to either act first before everybody else or add 2 dice to any single roll. And you can do that, I think we decided last time, we can do that as many times as you want to. Or, some limit based on something else. But you can do that as many times as you want to, but it's not free. Every time you do that, say you really need this to work, right? We want you to feel heroic. We want you to feel good. But if you don't do it right the first time and you need to add something to that, you need a little bit of extra oomph. You need to, pull a Spider-Man and just really go for the gusto. You can do that. You can absolutely make your character do that. But it will generate, every time you tempt fate, it will generate a threat token for the GM. And the GM can just sit back and build up threat tokens every time your envoys abuse fate. And when threat gets too much, right, the GM can use threat however they want. They can add the d6 to their roll. They can make one of their players go first or something like that. But they could also, if they build up enough grit, they can use that grit to, or sorry, not grit, if they build up enough threat, they can use those in pretty narratively stunning ways. So, like, introduce a catastrophe or a grief or some sort of sudden event into the world. We kept the grit idea from Gangs of the Undercity. It had gone. We brought it back. Grit represents in Gangs of the Undercity, it sort of represents the willingness of the gang to keep fighting. Similar in Subversion, but it's sort of more of a psychological, emotional term that hints at your ability to keep your shit together when things start going bad. It's your mental, emotional, spiritual health, the sort of thing that you use to dig down deep when things are going badly. So if you generally have not a lot of grit, right, things will affect you deeper. It'll take you a little bit longer to recover from some of the stuff that happens to you. All right, let's get down to it. Resources, which is what I'm going to deal with right now. Resources are things in your envoy's toolbox that help you deal with taking grit damage. When negative things happen, like if you're scared to death, or you take too much damage, somebody beats the shit out of you, or somebody close to you is sick or dies or whatever, that manifests itself as grit damage. Right? Everything else now becomes harder to deal with because you're dealing with this. Resources allow you to mitigate grit loss somehow. So let's see. Cliff says, Cliff, or Mr. Johnson from the Arcology podcast, is one of our lead helpers, as is Palmer, who's in the chat, as is Garde-Manger. Those are the folks who were responsible for the initial play test anyway, or the initial rules, and now we're sort of taking them out. This will be the sort of final pass before I get out a play test for everybody to look at. All right, so Cliff says he'd like to limit these to 1 action per grit, meaning when you use a resource, it only heals 1 grit. And the reason he's suggesting to do that, I think I've made this change already. Yeah, Palmer, I was just saying that you're largely responsible for this. One of the 4 people that are largely responsible for everything in this playtest. So, big props to you. So we had these down here. For example, I'll never forget. This is what Palmer said. Excellent hydration habits. You drink plenty of water, so you get to regain grit efficiently. Stuff like that. Support group creating art. We had these at, it uses 2 downtime slots, regain 3 grit. 3 downtime slots, regain 5 grit, etc., etc. But Cliff here suggests, I think I made the change already, that we limit them to 1 action per grit. So you spend 1 downtime slot action during the downtime, and then you regain 1 grit. And the reason he's suggesting that is because we have other things, which are community resources. Community resources are more powerful. They don't just concern each individual envoy, they concern the entire community. And by making the the envoy ones only 1 per 1, it makes the community ones more important. And since community is such a big part of Subversion, I think I agree with him. But in order to make these still good to take, my suggestion was to also gain something besides grit, gain, but something else along with that, some sort of flavorful thing. But I don't think I need to deal with that right now. I think I can put that off for a little bit. By the way, can you guys hear that air conditioner in the background? It started getting a little bit hot in the office, so I turned on the air conditioner. But if it's obnoxiously loud, I can turn it off. All right, let's see. Okay, I just made a note that we have different casts, which I guess are sort of similar to lifestyle choices in certain other RPGs. They don't really mechanically affect anything. They sort of, they do a little bit, but more, they don't require bookkeeping. But more than anything else, they tell you what your character is, how your character interacts with society. So if you're poor, no matter what you spend your money on, right, when you get your money, when you get your fortune or whatever, you're eating bad food. Your clothing is in bad repair. Your transportation, your Metro card only allows you to operate single passenger vehicles. You can't use creatures for transport. You live in a hovel or dilapidated apartment. Your utilities are spotty and they fail often. You don't get respect. You don't have any access to lawyers, and the law is hostile towards you. That's not something that you can pay to upgrade between things. That's just what it is for you. We're assuming that when you pick a cast, we don't have any stated means to improve casts. Well, that's not technically true. Cliff and I have been working on the community stuff, and what we've talked about is if you can improve your community's cast, then you automatically improve as well. And one of the things that we're leaning heavily towards is whatever cast your community is, that's what cast you are, and vice versa, right? So if you create a bunch of lower middle cast envoys, then when you get around to creating community, then you'll be lower middle cast as well. But yes, we do have something available like that to... It's a long-term goal for a community, and long-term goals for communities are very difficult to achieve, right? Like, this is what you would spend your entire campaign doing, is taking your middle, lower, or poor neighborhood and making it a lower middle-class neighborhood. You've done enough, you've poured enough resources into it, you've pulled enough strings, you've bribed enough people so that your community now is better off than it was before. But that does not happen overnight. But one of the things we really are excited about is you can make meaningful differences in your community. You and your actions of the rest of your envoys and you affect the world in actual, tangible ways. And that's one of the things we really, really want to lean hard into. Yeah, exactly, Aaron. When you can tie into the world and change things and have effect on things. All right, so let's go. But yeah, for the playtest, and I think for the main book, for the core rulebook, we're going to limit things to basically being poor and lower cast. Because, whatever you put in your core rulebook is what people are going to focus on, right? That's going to be the focus of your game for good or ill. So if we make the lower, middle, and poor casts what the main book focuses on, then my assumption is that people will get that that's the idea, right? Lower and poor classes against the higher classes. All right, let's see. Not available default lower middle cast. Okay, same thing. Okay, this is just a note to myself on balancing armor and clothing. We have 3 axes: armor, health, and guard loss. So guard is like your defense, and armor takes damage off of a successful hit. So some armor or clothing will give you armor, protection from damage. Some will give you health, and some will actually limit your ability to defend yourself. I didn't want to make it too complicated, so right now, that's how we're balancing things. Okay, so yeah, it used to be agility. Okay, I think. Oh wait, I still need that comment. I don't need this comment. I need this comment. Keep that there so we know. Here's how we balanced weapons and whatnot. Hey, what's up, Ford? Good to see you, man. Yeah, it's been a while since we've chatted. I've missed the promised cigars at Gen Con. Any chance that you're going to Gen Con, Ford? I plan on doing Gen Con and Origins this year. I'll be vaccinated. That's the thing that I was waiting for and hoping for. So I can't think of a reason not to if I've been vaccinated, and my wife's been vaccinated, and my daughter's been vaccinated, and my son's going to go to school in September anyway. So I can't think of any reason not to. Maybe I'll have to quarantine myself when I get back, but that's not a huge deal. The potential benefits of going to the cons and being able to sell stuff and meet with people and just, anyway, the benefits are outweighing the possible negatives, which I can't even think about. Can't think of any negatives off the top of my head. But that might not be the case for everybody, so I don't know. So for weapons, we don't get too deep, but we do have 15 or 16 build points per weapon. Good. If you do end up going to Gen Con or Origins or whatever, man, let's get that cigar. Where it says K here under damage value, the K is for keep. So you would roll a number of dice equal to how many above. So here's how combat damage would work. You would roll your dice equal to your skill in the thing that you're using. So if you had a melee skill of 3, you'd roll 3 dice. Melee skill of 5, you roll 5 dice. But no matter how many dice you roll, you can only keep up to 3. So if you roll 6 dice, because your melee skill is 6, you roll 6 dice, you only get to keep the highest 3. Then you compare that to the guard, it's like the armor class of your opponent. Compare that to the guard, and however many you get above that, that's how many dice you would roll for damage. So let's just say I rolled my 5 dice for melee. I kept the highest 3, and the highest 3 were all 6s, so that gave me 18. And my opponent's guard is 12, so that allows me to roll 6 dice for damage. I roll those 6 dice, And the K1 or the K2 or the K3 or whatever the case may be tells me I get to keep the highest blank of those dice. So say I roll my 6 dice and I get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get to keep here for if I'm unarmed, I get to keep the highest 1. So that would be a 6. And then I would add my bronze score to that. But if I'm using a pistol, I would get to keep 2. So I'd get to keep the 5 and the 6 for an 11 plus 1. That would be 12 damage. So that's how we're doing it as of now. That could change, but that's how we're doing it right now. All right, so magic gear. This is all stuff that I don't think is super important for the playtest. I don't think it'll come up very often, if at all. So we have 3 different magic types in this game: sacred, sublime, and arcane. And we try to introduce different flavors for them. So I'm wondering if the salve of life, which is a sort of magical healing ointment, you take your oil of Olay, your magical oil of Olay, and you rub it on your buddy's, the tear in his butt cheek, and it heals up. But envoys with at least 3 ranks in a magic art skill may take 1 grit damage to increase the health gained by 2d6. So from 1d6 to 2d6, so my thought was, would it be flavorful, or would it be a good idea to maybe say if you have the sacred art, and the sacred arts do tend to focus not necessarily on combat, but more on manipulating grit or doing healing or status type things. So that might, I don't know. I don't really have any strong feelings one way or the other about that. So being that as it may, I'm going to leave it the way it is. Change description to match. That's not helpful, self. What's that note? Change description to match. What? What was I talking about? Let me see if I can guess what my context was. Change description to match. Nationality. Oh, I see, because I'm describing it in the paragraph below as nationality. So that needs to change. Okay, so let's do that real quick. Choose type. I see. Type is not like a real fun or engaging word. So we got to come up with something. So you can have a neighborhood, a village, a corporate community, a religious community, a rebel community, a nomadic community. So what is type a good word for all of those possibilities? Choose type? I don't like it, but it used to be nationality. That didn't work with all the other things we were doing. So, all right, type, whatever. We'll come back to it. This can be changed in post. Type defines the kind of community and type defines the broad kind of community the envoys live in, the envoys work for. Type defines the broad kind of communities the envoys belong to. There we go. Every type of community. Every type of community has, that doesn't make sense. have considerable influence for good or ill. Yeah, reply all you want to. Communities have considerable influence for good or ill on all their members. A community's type provides resources as well as community impulse. Now, what did we say? I think Cliff wrote these rules. I don't remember. Let's see. Community resources. I don't remember how we chose them. You choose your type. What does the type do for you? I don't remember. Let's see. Or maybe I'm just missing it. I want to say that maybe each type of community gives you access to 2 resources from that community and 1 impulse from that type of community, but I'm not seeing that at the moment. Well, shucks. I guess it's make a note here. At Cliff. At Arcology? No. At Mr. Johnson? Nope. At Prism Shard. That's what it is. Nice, thank you, Google Docs. All right, note that these are what controls, leads, or influences a community, but could actively be against the type or oppressed by it. I don't know what I was trying to say there. These are what controls, leads, or influences the community, but could be actively. Oh, I see. I don't think I need to note that. I think I understand that. But what I was telling myself to remember is that regardless of what type of community you're a part of, you don't have to support that type. So if you're a corporate group, that doesn't mean that you and your friends are corporate stooges. You could be actively trying to subvert whatever you're a part of. So if you're like a group of altar boys or whatever, you could actively be trying to subvert the religious community you find yourself in, etc., etc. But I think that's a given. Let's see. We will probably restrict these casts in the. Okay, I said that enough times already. Doop, 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 doop. You guys hear my dogs freaking out just because somebody exists in the outside world? See somebody walking by and my dogs just freak out. I wonder if we could have little paragraphs in the appendix full of adventure ideas for creation and upgrade acts, along with just regular adventure ideas. Yes, self. That's a great idea. I'll keep that note. Can you give some examples of, let's say, okay, so service as a community resource. So yeah, assuming that your community does community service type things, helping members of the community benefit, spend one downtime slot and one fortune to benefit from, hold on one sec, guys. Okay. Let's see. Specified service. And so David says, can I give examples of the specified service? Well, Cliff answered here. I'm going to leave it. Make a note of it for later because it's not relevant to the playtest. I'm doing this so I can get a playtest out. That's what my goal is right now. So I'm not going to concern myself with GM notes and reminders and things like that. Sidebar. Oh yeah, here we go. See? Sidebar. Improve the community's cast. When an envoy spends one downtime slot to invest in their community, they make a skill test. The result of the skill test is how many of their fortune they may invest towards upgrading their community's cast. So yeah, here we go. You would take some of your fortune, which is our meta currency. It's nice because fortune is both money, right? I spent a fortune. Or it could also be, let me tell your fortune, right? It's kind of the destiny ahead of you. It works both ways. So we have fortune, and you can take your fortune and donate it to your community. And in that way, you can upgrade their cast. 100 fortune, I think, is a lot. But you can't just do it all at once. If you spend one downtime slot to invest fortune in the community, you make a skill test, and that's the upper limit of how many you can invest at a time. So it's never going to be just a one-time thing. It'll always have to be a process, which I think I really like. Although I did have this note in here, which I really like. Yeah, it is meant to be a lot. Especially, I mean, like going from poor to middle is something that you can sort of reasonably do in a reasonably short period of time. I mean, like given like the arc of a narrative campaign. But going from a lower middle class to an upper middle class casts area or community, that's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be a huge investment. And we made the upper to the elite, for example, 100,000 fortune. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine that would ever come up, and it's not supposed to, right? Like, we don't really want to encourage people to be that upwardly mobile, becoming the very thing that they're supposed to be fighting against. So yeah, I think 100,000 fortune is plenty. But I do like the idea of the adversaries in our adventures sort of saying like, hey, if you back off, I'll make a significant donation or a significant investment in your community. So then you have to weigh the options, like, is the investment in my community, which will have tangible effects on the people in your community. It will help them and you. Is it worth giving up your ethics? Is it worth giving up your beliefs? That's going to be the core fight in Subversion. It's not going to be you versus the bad guys. It's going to be the things that you hold dear versus what's good for your community, what's best for your community. And those things are going to sometimes rub up against each other. And that's the sort of core conflict of Subversion. What do you want to accomplish versus what you can accomplish, and what do the people around you want to accomplish as well? So I like the idea. Instead of giving fortune directly to the players, you would say, hey, if you guys just leave this alone, I will build you a library or something like that. Let's see. So one of the different things, one of the phases of play is called refining. And refining is where you deal with your community. It's downtime, it's resting up, it's interacting with your community, not in a sort of action-packed way. It's this sort of behind the scenes where you go back and you hang out with your people. One of the things you can do during that time is do acts for your community. You know, you can improve things, you can do nice things, you can restore things, you can do things for yourself to make money or recover grit or whatever. You can sort of behind the scenes do work or infiltrate or do other things against other communities, invest. But one of the things you might be called on to do is to appease an authority. So every community will have an authority, probably multiple authorities, but one main authority that is sort of the thorn in their side that they have to deal with. So appeasing the authority is one of the options you can do. Do something in support of the status quo and the authority. This act must contrast one or more of your community's values. So this is something you don't want to do. This is something that you just have to do in order to keep the peace or prevent something worse from happening. Probably isn't something you would normally want to do, but sometimes you need to mollify the bullies if you don't want your community to suffer. Okay, so Orion says, I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this because if you want to support the status quo, but are being required to do something that is against one of your values, isn't that sort of not preserving the status quo? As the text applies, it's a compromise, a fake out, biting it. Okay, I dealt with this one. Okay, that was a comment I made a long time ago and justified it. Okay, moving on. All right, getting through pages and pages with no comments. Woo. Oh, here we go. Bit too wordy. Change the paragraph. Click. Select change. Skills are intentionally broadly applicable to allow the creation of competent envoys without the player having to invest fortune. That is a lot. That is a wordy sentence. Skills are intentionally broad. Period. They allow the creation of competent envoys without the player having to invest fortune in multiple specific skills in order to navigate the world. Competent envoys. They allow the creation of competent envoys with the skills needed to navigate the world. Okay. That's fixed. Yay. Let's see. This stuff isn't added yet. Skills are also important when looking at the prepared or flashback. Okay, we had this idea of having a prepared action, like prepared is what the action would be called, or having a flashback sort of action where you would use your grit, right? It would cost you something. You would essentially take a stress point to have gone back and done something that would allow you to be prepared for the scene at hand. We haven't implemented that. I don't know if we're going to or not. I'm not sure if I like it 100%. I don't hate it because obviously I brought it up in the first place. But yeah, we wanted to sort of simplify things initially, so I haven't added this yet. So I'm going to leave that alone. Skill list, everything looks good. Let's see, general notes. A lot of places that corrected magic arts to be arcane or sublime or sacred, but forgot that rank 2 is when the choice is made. So yeah, okay, one of the things is during our playtest is having something at rank 1 was sort of throwing off our rhythm, because the dice mechanic is roll a number of dice equal to your skill, and if you had 3 dice, you get to keep. If you had 3 skill, then you get to keep all 3 dice. If you had 2, you only got to keep 2, and if you only rolled 1, then you got to keep 1. But the tension was coming is like, what happens if you don't have any, if you don't have any ranks in that skill? It's 0. Can you not make the test? Yeah, of course you can make the test, but like, what does it look like? It got complicated. Like, you roll 2 dice and keep the lowest. It just got to be sort of a pain in the ass. So, one of the most elegant solutions we heard was, hey, these are envoys. These are people picked because they have the ability, if not the actual practice, but they have the ability to do all manner of things. So we just said, start skills at 1. Everybody starts with a 1 in every skill. Everybody can try to do something. And that solved a lot of our problems. Rolling 1 dice is not great. You only get to keep 1 dice. And so it's not going to break anything. But you can give it the old college try with 1 dice. And you're going to fail, but you can roll. So that meant that simply choosing to put fortune into something is not going to be special. So if you put fortune into something, then you're going to be at rank 2. That's what he's referring to. Rank 2 is when the choice is made. Everybody else is at rank 1 in everything. Magic arts, though, is different. Magic arts implies that you have some skill in that, but magic arts is different in that rank 1 in magic arts is purely academic and has no practical use. You can't use magic just because you have magic at rank 1. Rank 2 is when you choose what you're doing. Sublime, arcane, or sacred. Let's see, what's Orion saying here? This implies that in some cases later, the envoy could have rank 1, meaning none of the 3 is chosen yet, yes. And then take an arcane paradigm. Oh, I see. Yeah, so our paradigms, I'm going to skip ahead real quick. Our paradigms should make sure that they say you have to have not 1 in something. Magic paradigms, here we go. Paradigms are sort of like mini classes. Like they don't define you nearly as much as like a class in D&D, but they do give you a sort of skill set, or an expanded skill set, different tools for being a part of that thing if you invest in it. So yeah, they have different tiers. Right now, paradigms only go to tier 1 and 2. So let's see. I don't see requires arcane 1. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, I need to fix that real quick, because every envoy is going to have arcane 1. So we need to change that to, I don't know, arcane 2, so a skill rank of 3 indicates proficiency, right? You roll 3 dice, you keep 3 dice. That's a sort of baseline proficiency for being trained in something. You can have a 1 or a 2, which means you can sort of try it out, and you might even succeed. Who knows? but you're not consistently good at something with a 1 or 2 rank. And everything above 3, is various levels of being a master of your form or whatever. So I wonder if putting a rank 2 in something, is that good enough to take a paradigm? I wonder if, in fact, I think maybe all of these paradigms reflect that. I hope not. I hope I've changed some. Let's see, the artist. Art's rank 1. Okay, these all need to change. Fart. All right, what do you think, Palmer? Rank 3 or rank 2? Should we make people invest heavily? Not heavily. Should we make people invest, let's see, what's it? 1, 2, 5. Should we make people invest 5 before taking a paradigm, or just 2? Five sounds like a lot, but it would sort of prevent some of the early abuse we were thinking about. I'm not sure what that makes sense. I'm not sure. You think 2, just having 1, so you could not be good at something, but still sort of dive into the. And then maybe for tier 2, we can make it. You have to have 3. I think that actually makes sense. But the bottom line is, I think you will want to have. I think you'll want to have at least 3 ranks in whatever paradigm. So art's rank 2. Like, I can be a crappy wizard who knows more spells, or I can be really skilled and have a few abilities. That's fair. Okay, so I'm going to basically do a little cut and paste here, or find and replace. What's the expected size of die pools on the specialty of a starter character? Hey, Tom. Good to see you. I think we were saying that 6... no, not 6 die pool. It would be... Yeah, that was what my thought was, Palmer. Die pool would be... Like, if you weren't a specialist, then maybe your highest thing would be like 3 dice and something. But if you wanted to sort of be like, this is what I'm doing, and maybe only this, then maybe 4 dice or 5 dice and something. It gets exponentially harder to invest in something. Yeah, because getting to 2 in something costs 2. That's easy. Getting to a 3 in something costs 5. Getting to a 4 in something costs 9. Getting to a 5 in something costs 14, right? So the prices just keep getting higher and higher. It's very good. The skills will pay off, and the sort of bell curve is very nice, and I like the way that our bell curve works out. But yeah, costs a lot to basically go straight up in something. So yeah, I think I agree with you, Palmer. Let's start doing the replacement. You like my artist? I don't know. This guy kind of reminds me of Post Malone a little bit for some reason. And then our Delver here. Kind of like indie. Okay. Who's trying to get a hold of me? Calm yourself. Okay, I have to go on break for a tick because my wife apparently is trying to move a microwave by herself. Give me a minute, and I will be right back. How about 4 minutes to take a little 4-minute break, and I'll see you when I get back. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Farsighted, the sky has never been so clear. Hello to the hopeful, goodbye to the full of fear. Glorious, luminous, the heavens are painted, have brushed you with angel wings. And you know in your heart that the farsighted see better things. Hello, you daydreamers. Hello to the in-between. Behold all you've wished for, promising things unseen. Glorious, luminous. The rockets are burning. The dreamers are at full swing. The heavens are painted, have brushed you with angel wings. And you know in your heart that the farsighted see better things. Farsighted see better things. The farsighted see better things. The farsighted see better things. Hello to the burnouts, the left out and left behind. For farsighted drifters, matchless, one of a kind. Glorious, luminous, the rocket.
All right. Microwave successfully moved. We've done it, chums. Is there a cap for starting characters, or can I dump everything into shooting a gun? You can. I think you can. Yeah, you can dump everything into shooting a gun. But there is a cap, I believe. Let's find the cap. Maximum skill rank for starting envoys is 4. That's an arbitrary limit that we put on there. That might change. But yeah, you can't go beyond rank tier 2 for paradigms, which is convenient because we don't have anything past tier 2. And you can't go beyond 4. Which I don't think is crazy. Like, you'll get, I think it was 35 points to divvy out to your skills. I think that sounds right. Or maybe it was 35 to do skills and your attributes. Envoys have fortune equal to 35 plus your cast bonus plus your debt bonus to do the remaining stuff. You can go to debt early on in the game, and you have to pay it back at very poor loan terms. But you can do it if you want. So yeah, attributes start at 0, skills start at 1, and you can, upgrade them with your 35 fortune. Attributes get raised on a basis equal to what the new cost is, or what the new attribute is. So Going from 0 to 1 is 1 fortune. Going from 1 to 2 is 2. Going from 2 to 3 is 3, etc., etc. But skills are a little bit different than that. Basically, because skills, the way that the dice pool works, it's not like a 1-to-1 ratio like attributes are. Attributes are just a generic bonus on the end, sort of like D&D. But the number of dice you roll, the number of dice you keep, influences things differently because of that bell curve we talked about earlier. So it starts off in the early bit about the same. So going from 0 to 1, actually that needs to just go away because we're not doing that anymore. So I'm going to read that out. Doop. That's not what I meant to do. Doop. There we go. So yeah, going from 1 to 2 fortune is 2, going from 2 to 3 is 3, but then you start to have bigger increases. Going from 3 to 4 is 5, going from 4 to 5 is 5. Because, again, rolling more dice will increase your average roll by different amounts than just a static bonus like attributes do. So yeah, anyway, that's a long answer to whether there's a cap. There is a cap. Alright, let's see, rank 1. Oh, previous. Downtrodden refugee. Your community is helping you recover, however, so you may begin with 1 resource, another language known, or a free skill at rank 1. That doesn't make any sense, so now we'll change it to 2. I don't think that'll break anything, but that is a 2 fortune swing, so maybe we don't have any skill. Because that does seem kind of powerful. Boosting by 1, right? Going from 0 to 1 is only 1 fortune. Going from 1 to 2 is 2. That Downtrodden refugee could end up being the obvious take for anybody if we make it any skill. So maybe we can have it just be 1 skill. And of course, then it'll be the generic, everybody takes this if they're that certain skill. But we'll figure it out. Magic arts cover anything dealing with magic. Rank 1 in magic arts is purely academic. Okay, good. That's rank 1 is appropriate. All right, here we go. Observation, rank 2. Replace. Humanities, rank 2. Replace. Observation, rank 1. Replace. 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 We're replacing maniacs. Replace. I want to do replace all, but I'm not that dumb. Good. Beautiful. Oh, wait a minute. Where was I at that I got so many? Oh, I see. I remember now. Larry made a comment somewhere along the line that I needed to replace those, and I did. Well, come on. There we go. General notes. Didn't notice before. There are a lot of places that correct magic arts to be arcane, blah, blah, blah. I forgot the rank 2. Applies in some cases later on. Rank 1, blah, blah, blah. Requires make 1. Strong suggest changing the requirements. The paradigms. Rank 2. Yep. Good. Or rank ones. Yep. So rank 1, the user gains implement. Oh, okay. When rank 2, choose. Yes. At rank 2, choose. Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, in the interest of being flavorful, at rank 2, arcane magic users choose an implement. And this is really for no reason other than fluff. I like the idea of wizards using staffs and rods and books and wands or hand art. That's the instrument that they use to draw the formula of magic. And initially you can't cast spells without it. It's not really that much of a hindrance. but if you don't have it, you can't. And then there's a paradigm thing that makes you so that you don't have to have it. Although, if you don't mind it, why bother? Of course, if somebody takes it away from you, I don't know. I hate when GMs take necessary items away. I feel like you don't need to do that. But anyway, right now they're the only one that has it, and that sort of feels poopy. But maybe either adding something onto the other ones or just making that a purely cosmetic thing. I don't know. I still like it. But I think that comment is done. That's the main thing. Yeah, I suppose you're right, Tom. If you took a gun away from a gunman. Yeah, I suppose, you know, we should just say the solution for this really should be like, hey, GMs, just don't do that, right? I mean, unless all your players are sort of on board. I mean, and again, like once in every campaign, having your heroes sort of not have access to their stuff, that's fine. But I don't think that like doing this to them without their permission is cool, especially when it leaves some at a disadvantage and others not. But, you know, yeah. Right solution, GM, just don't be a dick. I agree. But yeah, but also, Tom, your point is well taken, right? No matter how many points I have in ranged combat, if I don't have my gun, what do you do? So yeah, I think maybe that's okay. Okay, so here I have to change these up based on the comments that Cliff made earlier. So 1-to-1 basis is what we'll do. That just reflects what we talked about earlier. Although I think it was 1-to-1 earlier. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So therapeutic inpatient treatment, for example, that's a big one, right? You'll spend your whole downtime doing that, but you'll regain 4 grit, which is good. So, but it's still 1-to-1. That's the big change. Okay, let's see. Larry says, general note about paradigms because of current wording. Currently, if an envoy has no tier 2 abilities, then they are tier 1, yes. However, a lot, read almost all the tier 2 abilities have the requirement of tier 2. Yeah, that needs to change. But as I was going through, I've already started thinking about this, and when I was moving, you can sort of see this is the format of the paradigms we have now, and they're slowly being converted from this sort of format. As I'm doing that, I'm removing. This is what he was talking about. Let's see, find one. Well, maybe we already fixed them. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Point is, I'm now fixing those comments as they show up, as I flip the stuff. Situation where the envoy would never actually be eligible. Right, correct. But I fixed it. Requires 3 tier. Yep, got it. Already made those changes. Tier. So I don't. This is just a formatting issue. Palmer, do you have any idea why Joel would have 2 brackets like this instead of just 1? Because tier here, I don't know. I don't have any idea. Like, this is not a big deal. This is not something that's going to change anything in the playtest. But it's formatting. I don't know what the difference is between having 1 bracket and having the double brackets, but double brackets seem fairly prevalent because Joel was, when he was making most of these, put things in dual brackets, like where's one example? Like right here, where there's just two brackets for some reason. I think one bracket will do, but I think it's a little pedantic to worry about it. I don't think it matters. Oh yeah, don't worry about it, Palmer. That's what we do. For the sake of respecting Larry's proofing, I'm gonna just change it and be done with it. If an envoy has any tier 1 abilities from the Breacher paradigm, but no tier 2 abilities, their Breacher tier is 1. Tier should not be capitalized, I think, because there are multiple tiers. If there was only one tier, or if it was the tier, then, or if tier was one thing, then it would be capitalized. But I don't feel like going back and fixing it, so we'll just jettison that comment. Are we committed to creating? Okay. So here's something that y'all can help me with, right? All 6 of you. I have paradigms are essentially like occupations or roles or your place in society or things that you're good at, right? Things people might know you as. You could be an artist, for example, or a delver, which is sort of like an adventurer, Indiana Jones type. You could be a researcher. You could be a priest or a breacher or whatever, right? Like, so paradigms basically they ride that line between what you are and what you do. But we have one of these guys where I know exactly what I want them to be and to do, and that is sort of be one of those people who takes the heart of the community and is an advocate, a verbal and intellectual and idea advocate for that community to the outside world. They're essentially an evangelist for the community and the community's values. I floated the idea messenger would be a good term, but messenger means something slightly different in our world. So I said messenger, right? It's somebody who messages, right? They take the message of the community and they bring it forward. Lots of people had other sort of suggestions, but my question is not give me, you could give me a suggestion if you want to, but does messenger sound confusing? Does messenger sound stupid? Does messenger sound hopelessly confused with messenger? I'm just curious as to what you guys think about that word, because we still go back and forth about it. I sort of like it. I just kind of like it, but also some people don't. So I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about messenger, somebody who messages, somebody who takes the message and like a street prophet or a street preacher or something like that. Somebody who takes the values and goes out there and yeah. Yes, yeah, Palmer, I do know your thoughts, and Tom, they do sound and read very similarly, which, I mean, we could just change it to messenger, but again, that sort of implies that you're just going to be, like, taking messages back and forth. But yeah, hey, Austin, good to see you. Yeah, messenger and messenger. Right, it almost basically just sound like we're trying to say messenger, but we just spelled it wrong. Conveyor. Yeah, it's a conveyor. That sounds like a piece of equipment, though, right? what were some of the other things? Like town crier. It was somebody's thing. And essentially, a town crier would be, you know, again, evangelist or town crier is sort of what we're going for, but those don't, I mean, frankly, these don't sound cool enough. They don't sound, yeah, they just don't sound right. Representative, right, but see, representative also, though, too, is basically, like, that's what the envoys are. Like, they provocateur, maybe? Let me Google through that. See, like, what that implies. I said, let me Google that, and my phone is like, I can help. Please talk to me. So, provocateur, one who engages in provocative behavior, or an undercover agent who incites suspected persons to partake in or commit criminal acts. Not quite. A provoker. I mean, like, right, we're getting close. I don't hate it. Advocate. But yeah, my problem with advocate is the same thing that I have with representative, is that they are both, that's what envoys already are. Like, the PCs are already advocates and lawyer. I wanted this to be something like, at a glance, you would know that they are the ones who are talking about it, right? They're using their vocal ability to drum up the community, to sway people one way or the other, or to otherwise convince, or like a rabble rouser almost is a good one. I wonder what a synonym for locutor of Borg. Let's see. What did I just say? Rabble rouser. Because rabble rouser is actually what I'd like to. If I could call it rabble, I could just call it rabble rouser. Agitator. Oh yeah, provocateur is one. Firebrand. Demagogue. Like, my issue, my question, not issue. My question is, if I put rabble rouser or agitator or firebrand as a paradigm, as the name of a paradigm, if you look at that, if you read that in the book, what do I want my character to be? And you read rabble rouser, you read agitator, you read firebrand. Do those immediately spark something in you that I know what this is about? That's really what I'm trying to drill down on. Rouser? Actually, rouser is not terrible. Stentor? See, Stentor might work, but that does not, to the average person, I don't think Stentor I'm fixing a lot of suggestions. Which means, oh, Larry, yes, I am fixing a lot of suggestions. Word rouser? You know, rouser, just as rouser, I don't hate that. Who said that? Tom, you said that. It's not a bad idea. It's not terrible. I mean, I don't hate rabble rouser either, but rouser, I do like firebrand. So maybe, and what we do here, let me go to the messenger one, and then you can. Do I already have it? Okay, so that's funny. So what we have in the paradigms is you have like the straight generic paradigm, but then you also have the specialties. So in Messenger we have the rabble rouser specialty, the community organizer specialty, and the politico. So you can be like a politician type, you can be like a Princess Leia, right? You can be a community organizer, like Static Shock. Was he a teacher or was he a community organizer? I don't know, one of the two. And then you have the rabble rouser. So what if we changed it to rouser and then changed rabble rouser to firebrand? I think that might actually work. Yeah, that's see, yeah, Aaron, that's what I was going for. Let's let's do that. What did I just change it from? Messenger. Okay, Palmer. Hey, if I get Palmer to back me up on something, then consider that a win. All right, messenger to rouser. I only had it in 3 places. Yay. Messenger, messenger, and messenger. Rouser. All right, now we're going to change rabble rouser to firebrand. All right, all right. Hey, see, we've already made some progress, folks. Firebrand, firebrand, firebrand. Bam, easy. Okay, all right, good. Thank you. That puts some of us at ease. All right, go back up here. Where's my next comment? Are we committing to creating this word? Otherwise, it should be messenger. We're no longer committed to it. Click. Okay, so now I'm going to stop. I promised myself I wouldn't get into the paradigms because those are irrelevant to the playtest. So instead, what I'm going to do is go into the playtest episode. We're calling our adventures episodes, and see if there's anything I need to shore up here. I have some notes somewhere. See if I have any actual notes on this document. Okay, I don't have any notes on the document. Let's see if this paper reflects anything. Oh, hey, Palmer, remember what we talked about the other day about haunts? Maybe the spirit here can be a haunt. Soapbox racing. Let's see. I have the spirit of LaCache Street. Do I want to make that a haunt? Nah. I think I'll leave it as it is. It's fine. Actually wanted to use a haunt as a catalyst for another adventure. Let's see. I'm looking at my paper notes here, so you guys can't see that. I'm sorry. Sidebar about Quince Corp. No. Sick. Fight. Man, I should have taken better notes. I think we're in a good place. So check this out. This is actually something that I'm kind of excited about. This is a stat block for security guards. Gives you a brief description of what they look like so that you can tell, you can describe them to the players. Then it gives you their motivation. They're here for the job. They're reasonably committed to keeping the peace. They still want to be considered employable and honorable afterwards, but they will not die for this company. They will, however, call for backup immediately. So that tells you a little bit about how to GM them. It tells you a little bit about how to use them, how to play them against the others. So if it looks like the battle's going badly, they won't fight to the death. They'll run away. And it also tells you that they have, radios, and they'll call for backup the minute anything goes wrong. I like those sort of things, those sort of GM helps, right? Instead of just, here's a stat block, do what you want. This is something that is actually narratively helpful. So I'm committed to doing that for every every stat block we add, giving some mode. And of course, GMs can change it, do whatever they want to, but this is how this person would act. Yeah, I like that. And then otherwise, you know, here's their basic defenses and their basic attacks. Just basically all you need to run these guys. I don't think I need to do anything here. I think this adventure is good. Maybe. I feel like there was more, but I'll be damned if I know where I put my notes. So that means I just need to do more playtesting and take better notes. Oh, thank you, Austin. Appreciate that. All right, so with that done, the final piece, not the final piece, but the penultimate, I'm using $10 words now, piece is to get these pre-gen characters in a good place. So here we go. This is our goblin. Goblins have weird names by other people's standards. This is Ahaha Stone's Throw. Goblin Apprentice Caster. And everybody needs to be redone to reflect... Yeah, okay, here's the... All the way back up to my document here. Where I... Step 1. Choose origin, lineage, and background. I think I've done that already. Lineage, Goblin, background, Apprentice, Caster, origin, Neo-Babylon. Done. And I think I even had... I deleted them all. Poop. I guess I just have to do it all over again. Wah! I don't wanna... Are you guys having problems with the stream buffering? Wasn't paying too much attention. But you know what? In order to be great, in order to do everything right, I guess I'll just have to remake these characters. All right. Choose cast. This cast is going to be lower middle class. Perfect. Are they all lower middle class, I wonder? Lower middle, lower middle, lower middle, lower middle, lower middle, lower middle. Perfect. All right, so I've chosen the cast for everybody. Lower middle class gains a +5 fortune bonus. So I'll keep that in mind for everybody. I don't think I'm going to give anybody debt, at least not yet. I'll see. Debt is fun. I don't want to talk about that right now, but it's kind of fun. You have debt holders, and they come to collect it. Again, it's a narrative thing as well as a mechanical thing. All right, attributes. Let's do this. Envoys have fortune equal to 35 plus their cast bonus. So everybody is going to start with 40 fortune. And I'm going to keep their skills and then just subtract. So in order to get 2 agility, that's 1. To get to 1. and then 2 more to get to 3, so that's 3. So for every attribute at 2, that costs 3. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 31 left. And then to get to a 3, that's 1. To get to a 2, that's 2 more, that's 3. So to get to a 3 in an attribute, that is 6. So wit and will are both at 6. Or both at 3, so that would cost 6 each. That's 12, so minus 12. 12 from 31. Come on, kick in. That's 19. Yeah. And then, once that's done, then you would use... Do you have another? Okay, so that doesn't make sense. I must have made a mistake somewhere, or we aren't doing it right. Because I think 35 is a lot, actually, to spend on all of these, because I still have 19 left over. I don't think that's right. Unless it is. It's been too long. It's been too long since I've looked at this. Well, we'll just keep going. I have 19 left now to spend, because I don't think you... doesn't make sense that it would be 35 plus the remaining 19. So what I think I did somewhere, I'm going to have to fix this to myself. What I think I did is I said earlier, I might have said 20, and then whatever you have left over plus another 20. Yeah, so this just needs to... Okay, you guys can see what I'm actually looking at, so that's probably not making as much sense to you as it could. But... So yeah, it's 35 fortune for everything, not just for attributes. That makes more sense. Attributes, skills, and paradigms. Yeah, Palmer, I think you're right. Okay, so now that we're back on track. So this person, ahaha, however you say it, 19 points left after attributes. So now let's go into skills. Now skills, remind ourselves that they all start at 1. Alright, everything's at 1 now. Alright, next step after attributes is putting stuff into skills. So to go from 1 to 2 in something is 2 fortune. What did I make this person? What did I make her? So she's obviously a arcane caster. She's got some of this stuff here. Basically everything that's paradigm related. What I'm not seeing here is We didn't do the lineage, origin, and background bonuses yet. I skipped some stuff. So let's go down to... Where'd it go? Lineage and origin. So she is a goblin. The goblin lineage options are Goblin Scamper, giving her +1 agility. Quick Mind, Quick Feet, which means at the start of a conflict she can perform a reckless action without the usual penalty. Sensitive Ears, +2 to vigilance and observation tests when related to sound. Long Fingers, +1 to any test that requires fine manipulation. Or Diminutive, +1 to guard, and when rolling stealth or making a tight fit, may reroll 1 dice. I had a talk with Cliff earlier about those sort of fiddly things, like, right, when related to sound, or requires fine manipulation, or when rolling stealth or making a tight fit, how those require some amount of bookkeeping and memory on behalf of the player. So I've been thinking about that. Of course, just adding a straight up skill bonus or adding a straight up attribute bonus makes those things incredibly powerful and makes them sort of automatic, things to take. So I've been wrestling with how much what's the word? How much complicatedness? Complication? How much complexity? That's the right word. Too much wine. How much complexity is okay? I don't have a good answer to that. So if you guys have an idea, I'm not necessarily going to change anything yet. But if you guys have an idea, like if I say +2 vigilance or observation when it's related to sound, is that something that you're going to remember? Like when the time comes up, are you going to be like, oh, I have this? Does it require an extra place on your sheet? That's irritating. Or like Long Fingers. Like, does this test require fine manipulation? Or are you going to be that person asking all the time, like, does this require fine manipulation? Just so you can get that extra +1 bonus. Does that feel good? Does that feel like that's what you want to be doing? Yeah, it's flavorful. And like maybe it's cool, right? Maybe you do want to do that. Maybe that is fun, but I don't know. I'm not sure yet. So for the moment, I'm just going to say Goblin Scamper because that gives her +1 agility. Tom says, I know I won't remember, and it's one of the things you didn't like about playing Pathfinder. Yeah, and that's sort of what I'm getting at, is that I don't remember those things. If I can put it on my sheet when I'm making the character as a sort of generic all-the-time bonus, I'm more likely to do that, even if it's a lesser bonus. I agree. I kind of agree. I don't know. Because then again, yeah, and I think once we get into the paradigms, we start seeing those even more. Austin, I think you're right. Yeah, see, Palmer, I'm exactly where you are. I like them. They're nice touches. They add uniqueness and flavor, but I hate tracking them. That's exactly how I feel. I don't know what to do about it right now, because what I do like, and let me switch my screen so you guys can see this. What I do like here, let me increase the size of the screen. What I do like here is how when you choose to be one of these species or one of these peoples, say goblin in this case, it's not just +1 agility, right? It's not essentializing any of these peoples. It gives you a sort of range of what these people have traditionally or evolutionarily been good at. The Quick Mind, Quick Feet, by the way, I mean, that one is great. That one's fantastic. It does require you thinking about it, but like it's actually really, really good. Diminutive is also just good. It's straight up good. And the sensitive ears and long fingers ones are good too, like depending on the situation. See, that's what I like about them. They're flavorful, and I like having different options. But I don't know. I'm with Tom. I just don't know if I'm going to remember those. And that's what playtesting is for, I suppose. We might end up streamlining a lot of this. But my fear is that just giving straight up bonuses to... straight up bonuses to attributes or skills or even the... or even like guard and vigilance, it just, they feel so blah. Aaron says having those flavor items is really slick, but limit the number of those things that you have to memorize. Yeah. Looking at Fate, the 7 aspects was always a bit much, but Cortex using 3 distinctions is right. I have no... I've looked through the Fate and the Cortex books, but I don't have a lot of experience with them, so I couldn't tell you. I really don't know much about them. Austin says, so if you wanted to, Aaron, if you wanted to briefly explain, if you could, what those are sort of like, I'd love it. But if not, that's okay. I'm not trying to put you on the hook for doing my homework. Austin says, I've been reading a lot of City of Mist lately, so that's where your head is at. They use tags for those kind of things, where you get the bonus to anything if it applies. Okay, so that's second Fate aspects. Long fingers might not specify skills, but there's a reason they might work. +1 to the roll. Yeah. I mean, like that's why that's the way it's written right now, right? Distinctions are character created for a bonus, meaning that the player has a couple of them, and that's just their thing, and they're sort of random. Yeah, actually, I now that you say that, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I'm familiar with that. But the bonus is fixed as a dice bonus. Yeah. Yeah. Well, keep talking about it. Keep giving me your thoughts. I'm going to make these characters based on what we have here. And because of what we talked about, I am going to pick the easiest one. I should have done this first, because I'll show you why. If I pick +1 agility, then that would automatically affect things, right? So this would have started not as a 0, but as a 1. So I would get 1 fortune back for that. So now I have 20. Austin says that way to look for reasons to highlight your goblinness in perhaps a deception roll where it might not be spelled out, but is clever. Fate adds a +1 plot point. I think Fate works well with 7 because there's not much else on a character sheet. Sure. Yeah, if you don't have much else besides like 7 narrative things, then that does work. But we have a lot of other sort of crunchy bits. We're not as crunchy as Shadowrun, but we might be a little bit slightly more complicated than D&D in some aspects. Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that these things aren't necessarily bad, but maybe they can sort of be, if not streamlined, then at least easier to remember, sort of maybe more narrative or As long as they give a particular bonus. Maybe not. Like, so if I were to change long fingers, maybe instead of +1 to any test that requires fine manipulation, you might say something like add 1 dice whenever fine manipulation, whenever your hands are involved in something, right? That way you always sort of remember, like, I'm good with my hands. I get a plus 1 dice. Something like that. Let's see, Aaron says, making the bonuses themselves be concrete. Whatever you give the fun name, it's always a single skill +2 or a single attribute +1. That way it balances. Yeah, I think that's actually really important. Making sure that whatever you do, it's always balanced. Here we've sort of done that, in that, like, here, you know, in every time we bump an attribute, right? It's always +1 attribute. But if it's a skill, then it's usually +2. Austin, that's an interesting way to handle that. We do have something similar to Edge or Inspiration. It's something I mentioned earlier. It's called Grit. It's not exactly the same, but it can be spent in a similar way. So maybe that would be something. That might be something. Tom says, one of my problems with sensitive ears specifically is that when a GM asks for perception test, you don't know if you should add listening or only vision. Yeah, I've had that come up at Shadowrun tables where somebody has eyes or cyber ears or cyber eyes, and so you have to ask, like, is this an auditory test or is this a visual test? Daredevil is good with his ears, right? So maybe just a straight perception test, and that would be that. Yeah. Yeah, maybe just don't make the distinction, right? Like, maybe just say, hey, you get +2 to your observation, period. And not make the distinction, because honestly, like, who cares? Those are all good. Those are all good. I'm gonna come back to all of these. If we hunker down and try to figure this out, then I'm gonna miss out on the forest for the trees. I'm not ever gonna get this done. I can't remember, Palmer. We might have made a change to that because we were confusing it all the time. Anyway, I don't want to bog this down anymore. I'm going to move on and just say that Ahaha has Goblin Scamper, and then Quick Mind, Quick Feet. Yeah, but that one actually will come up every time, right? So that's something that you're not likely to forget, because that will happen every conflict. So your character would, if you choose that, you just know that your character is going to go first every time. And it might be a little bit hard to remember, like, you know, without knowing the game system. But, like, once you get into it, if you're the person who just, I go first every time, period. I do reckless actions without penalties. So Ahaha, back to her. We've created her lineage bonus. Choose one from the following list below. And now we are going to choose her, not background bonus. We're going to choose her origin. Would Quick Mind, Quick Feet be active when you're surprised? I do not think... Well, I don't even know if we have... Let's see. Since you're asking, let me oblige. And do you choose one so it's not like D&D feats, which are very hard to keep track of? No, for lineage options, you choose one. You can choose others, I believe. Maybe? Or was that a remnant of a future build or a past build? I don't know. As it stands, you just choose one. Period. That's it. Okay, so origins. Neo-Babylonian origin. They're all from Neo-Babylon. And you choose 2 from the list below. I'm gonna give her what did I give her? I wonder if I wrote it down. Oh, I put diminutive before. Yeah, Aaron, that is actually one of the things I want to avoid is just having to have like an extra sheet of paper to remember all your skills and all of your abilities and all of this stuff. That doesn't seem fun to me. It seems like having a couple of really cool abilities is awesome. Having like an entire spreadsheet, if then type thing, that does not appeal to me very much. And having to do a lot of maths at the table just seems like if I have to think too much, it takes me out of the action, takes me out of the narrative bit. So I'm agree with you. I don't like that. But if I notice down here, like, so this is what let's see if I can blow this up for you a little bit. These are the powers or the abilities that she has at the moment. Arcane Blast, which is basically a weapon, right? It's like a spell. She gets plus 1d6 when using arcane magic from the College of Air paradigm. It's not like an ability, but it's a sort of bonus. This is a power. Surrounding yourself with the power of air. Twice per session, you receive plus 2 guard and plus 2 armor for the remainder of the scene. So, like, you don't need to remember that. That's just something that you can use. Whispers on the Wind is a power you can use. Sophomore Air Magi. Just basically plus 2. Goblin Touch. So yeah, that's not too much. I don't think. Yeah, don't want cheat sheets. Don't want to have to... That level of complexity where you require cheat sheets. And even in D&D 4, 4th edition, was requiring cheat sheets, right? Where I had, like, I need to have all these things lined up in order to get my perfect Alpha Strike. And, like, it was great once the Alpha Strike happened, but then it got old. Okay, so I remember now I picked diminutive instead of the agility one, so I'm going to take that bonus back and just make a mental note that she gets plus 1 to guard. If it fits on the sheet and makes sense, yeah. Main sheet. Agreed. All right. What did I have here? Did she have any hints? Goblin Touch. Did we give all goblins that? I think we did. So, for example, Lineage Goblin. Yeah, lineage trait. This is not like really a thing. It's just a narrative thing. But like each lineage has like a sort of narrative thing that they can do. They can feel things more delicately, so it won't ever come up unless the GM or the player wants to come up. It doesn't affect anything mechanically, but it's a nice little touch. I don't have any indication of what I chose for the origin. So, let's see. +1 fortune to be spent on skills. That's an easy one. So we'll just add back, get back up to 20. And community head start, since this is a one shot for the playtest, I won't choose that one. Sacred ancestry, did she have that before? No, although that would be a good one. Oh wait, she's not a sacred mage, so that wouldn't really make sense. +1 grit maximum. Access to care. You were raised with adequate access to health and wholeness services. +1 grit maximum. Let's do that. +1 grit. And then everybody from Neo Babylon gets to choose a drawback. A face everyone wants to hit. Humans only. Monolingual. Is she monolingual? Let's see. Nope, she's not monolingual. Consummate consumer. Gain the impulse buying. Yep, that's her. We'll keep that one because she's already got it. Alright, next up. Skills. I should have paid more attention to what she had before. But that's okay. So she's a arcane caster. So I'm gonna bump her up to 3 at least from 1. So 1 to 2 is 2, and 3, 4, 5. So now she's down to 15. What else is she good at? Let's see. I will learn all I can. I'll have all the fun I can. Fiercely protect my community. I want to secretly start helping witches learn more magic. That's good. Good for you. Arcane blast, unarmed strike. So she's okay. So we'll have her be decently good at if unarmed strike is the only non-magical thing she has. We'll give her a little bit of a boost in that. That'll cost another 2. She's down to 13. And she has 1, 2, 3, 4 paradigm choices, which would cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll just remove those 10. Just so I don't have to change anything. So she'll have another 3 remaining to spend on skills, and that will round her out. But actually, that's not true. She's got a rider jacket. How much did the rider jacket cost? Where'd it go? Rider jackets cost 1 fortune, so that's another fortune gone. So she only has 2 to spend on other skills, which means she just gets to bump up 1 more skill to 2. That doesn't feel great, does it? That feels like she could just use a couple of more somewhere. Oh well. Let's give her... let's see. She is a mage. I'm going to take back 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to take it back. Physicality, no. Cybertech, no. Observation, maybe. Science, humanities, and art. Maybe she's an artist. Have all the fun I can. Does that sound like an artist? Yeah, we'll do that. No, we already have an artist, now that I think about it. Let's have her be well-read. So she'll have it too. There we go. Okay, so brawn plus will. 0 plus 3, that's 3 plus 10, so 13. Why does she have this 14 here? Oh yeah, it's because of her rider jacket. Good. Max grit, 2 plus awareness. 4 plus wit. 5, 6, 7 divided by 2. You know what? I think we changed this. Stand by. I feel like we changed the formula for grit. Finishing touches. All envoys begin with a grit maximum of 2 plus awareness plus wit. That's what's written, but I feel like we changed it. Palmer, am I losing my mind? Did we talk about changing it? Let me go back. Well, I said I changed it. Maybe I shouldn't change it there. Grit, 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 grit. Grit maximum. Not seeing anywhere where it's calculated. Not sure about grit changes. That's okay. That's okay. I think we changed it to just basically everybody starts with 3. That's what I feel is the case, but now I'd like to find out if I put that anywhere. All envoys begin. Okay, so that's where I have it. This is 2 plus awareness plus wit divided by 2. Crap. Why did I put that I changed it 13 days ago if I didn't change it? What's my problem? Yeah, see, I thought we did. Instead of having, okay, cool. Here's, I found it. I just didn't make it to the document. Instead of having max grit based on a calculation at CareGen, why not have everybody start at a certain number? Maybe 3, 5 if we want to be nice, but 3 should make the players hungry. I say, I don't hate that. Just make everyone start at 3. But for some reason, I just didn't add that in. All right. Well, now's a good time. Glad I caught it. Where was that thing that I just saw that told me how to calculate my grit? Here we go. Grit maximum. All envoys begin with a grit maximum of 3 with no resources and no impulses. The game. Grit equal to grit maximum. We want grit to be like another resource, like hit points or like health, right? But it's always been confusing. Because I'll say, you know, well, having to keep going back and forth between grit and grit maximum. Like, do you ever, like, when you're playing D&D, do you think about, like, hey, lose 5 hit points? You don't think that you're going to lose 5 hit points from your maximum. You just think that I'll temporarily lose 5 hit points. But for some reason, we've had people say, like, oh, you lose 5 grit. And you're like, what? I lose 5 grit? Like, oh, I can't get it back. It's like, well, no, you can get it back. So we split it up into grit and grit maximum, like hit points and hit point maximum. But that doesn't seem to be as intuitive as hit point and hit point maximum, grit and grit maximum. So I'm not sure what to do about that, but... I'm just going to put that there. That's not very... The upper limit to grit is 7. It's not a very poetic way to put that. Put it there anyway. Okay, so we talked about 3. Great. Change wording to spend instead of lose, right? Or maybe even taking grit damage. Yeah, that's a good word. I'm going to write that down. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Where was I at? What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Okay. Starting with grit. Max grit. Well, that's not a calculation now. 3 plus... But she has a thing that gives her +1, so 3 plus bonus. All right, so she starts at 4. What else? Her guard. And guard is... All right, Aaron, take care, man. Thanks for dropping by. Guard is agility plus brawn plus 6. Agility 2 plus brawn plus 6. Oh, but she's diminutive, so she gets +1 to guard. Alright, so 9 is correct. Vigilance is wit plus awareness plus 6. Wit 3, awareness 2, plus 6 is 11. Good job. And, okay, I remember now. 3 plus 2 plus 6, 11. 0 plus 2 plus 6 plus 1, 9. Got it. Cool, cool, cool. Current health, 14, correct? Current grit, 4, correct? Correct. She is good to go. Is she a viable character? For some of the more narrative parts, the only thing that she's going to bring to the table is humanities, and she's not going to be very good at it. And that bums me out, because I want all of the characters to be able to participate in the non-combat parts. So what if I, instead of having her grit bonus, I just made her grit back to 3. And took the what was her background? Apprentice caster. Let's see what that did. Okay, nothing mechanical. That's fine. So what if I took the access to care, and took that off, and instead gave her adaptable bearing, giving her another fortune to be spent on skills, and I increased, I took this melee combat back down to 1 and increased her humanities to 3. That would allow her to have something to contribute during the play test, which is what we want. We want people to feel like they are reasonably contributing to the playtest. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Alright, so she's good. Ahaha is good for the playtest. Gosh, that took longer than I wanted it to. The backgrounds is pretty cool. I like our lineage and our origin and our backgrounds. That feels super fun to me. Alright, Swaya. She is an elf Baru priest. So first off, let's just go back up here. 35 plus 5 is 40. Let's go see down here if we gave her anything. We gave her Elven Eyes, Faith Sight, Holy Hospitality. Yeah, I got distracted quite a bit. But it looks like the Elven Eyes is just part of the being an elf. The Face Sight is her choice. No, that's going to be... I think Face Sight is actually... No. I think that's right. Let's go. Face Sight, yeah. When detecting magic. Okay, we'll leave that the way it is. So, no bonuses there. Holy Hospitality, that's her background. So, what did she choose for... Well, I can tell she's monolingual. So, what did she choose for her origin? I guess I could just choose adaptable bearing for them all and make things easy on myself. Or did I choose Sacred Ancestry because she's a sacred mage? I don't see that I chose Sacred Ancestry anywhere. So let's just keep it easy and make everybody balanced and just give myself +2 fortune to spend. That way it'll make everything easier on myself. Alright, so let's spend our attributes. 1 on brawn, 1 on agility, 1 on wit, 2 more on wit, That's 5 total between brawn and agility and wit. So down to 37. Awareness, 1, 1, 2. That's another 3. And then, well, just 3, so that's down to 34. And then 3 will and 3 charisma, 6 each. That would be another 12. So down to 22 total. Okay. 1 plus 1 plus 6 would be 8. That looks right. Plus the guard penalty from the rider jacket. That sounds right. Oops. You know what? I just thought of. Ahaha. She didn't take the guard penalty. So 0 plus 2 is 2. Plus 6 would be 8. Plus the guard penalty would bring her back down to 7. But then plus her plus 1 to guard would bring her back up to 8. I can count. Come on, do it. What the heck? 8. There we go. Yay! Fixing stuff. Alright, so 1, 2, plus 6, 8, plus minus 1 is 7. Great. Perfect. 2, 3, 4, plus 6, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 6, 12. Done. Health. Brawn plus will. 1, 2, 3, 4. 14. Perfect. Bonus health of rider jacket. Perfect. Done. Done. Max grit. 3. 3, 3, 3. Great. Everything's done. Perfect. Now we've got 22 to spend on skills and paradigms. Let's see what paradigms she already picked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. So 13 left for skills. Does that sound right? Mm-hmm. Sounds right. 13 left for skills. Actually, a rider jacket costs 1. 12 for skills. Yep. 12 for skills. Alright, so humanities and sacred arts and observation and influence and arts. Okay. So we'll keep sacred arts. Everybody, I gotta go back and change all these to 1s. Alright, 12. 12, bumping the humanities, that brings it down to 10. What else? Sacred arts, bumping her up to 3, be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she's got 5 left. What do we want to build up? We have 5 left, so that means we can make something into a 3. So let's bump humanities up to 3. Although that makes her very similar to Ahaha. So maybe you want to bounce back over to Ahaha and change hers to science or something. But then I can bump something else up to 2. What do I want to bump up to 2? She wants to uphold the gods' will, not break the laws of Neo-Babylon, protect everyone from harm, and become an influential regional priest. So, if she wants to become an influential regional priest, she's probably on her way to learning some influence stuff. So we'll bump that up to 2, and we'll call her done. Right? Everything's good? Everything's good. I think so. At least good enough. Things will come up, I'm sure. Oh, I'm running out of steam. I can do this. I can keep going. Because if I finish this, then we're like just right there at the cusp of being able to have this playtest. Keep going, Opti. You can do it. Let's do Pushu Ken. who's the Sasquatch Rebel character. He is a Yetin. What is his... Okay, so he's going to be Yetin, Brawn. That's going to be his deal. So 35 plus 5 is 40. He's going to start with 1 Brawn. And then his background, do we have any background or origin traits for him? Imperial mindset. No. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to, again, just go for the balance. Ew, what just happened there? Gross. There we go. And just give him +2. Alright, 42. Is he monolingual? No. So what is his problem? He was raised in Neo-Babylon. Everybody raised in Neo-Babylon has a problem. Everybody wants to hit? No. Monolingual? No. Consummate consumer? Did he have any impulses? Contemptuous. Yes, he did. So he is contemptuous. But that's not on there either. Authoritarian? Oh yeah, there it is. Think you're all that. Contemptuous. Okay, we'll keep contemptuous then. That was fun to play through last time. Alright. So, let's add our attributes. He already had +1 brawn. So getting up to 3 is only going to cost 5. Bringing him down to 37. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That will round that out. 3, 4, 5, plus 6, 11. Great. -1, 10. Great. 2, 4, plus 6, 10. 2, 4, plus 6, 10. Right. Brawn, 3 plus will, 5 plus 10, 15. Plus the bonus health from the armor, 16. Perfect. 3, 3, 3. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Everything's good so far. -1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paradigms. 1, 2, 16 left. Oh, hey, Palmer. The pistol costs 1. The bat costs 1, or does it? I don't remember. But I do know the rider jacket costs 1. 15. I think we said that once you take a certain skill. So what did this dude have? Melee combat. Observation. I think we said that once you choose certain things, skill-based gear, that's what we called it. When you're 3 in a skill, you get the gear. I don't think we put that in there yet. I think that was what we discussed. I don't think I updated it yet. So consult the chart below. See what starting gear your envoy has. If your envoy has any ranks of it. So if your envoy has 3 ranks in a skill at character generation, they gain the associated gear. There you go. Just changed it. Okay, so yeah. I think 3 makes more sense. Even 2, you're just learning and you wouldn't have your own gear, but 3 makes it an investment and it doesn't make it sort of offsets the cost of having to buy it. So what did this character have? melee combat and observation. So let's get them up to 3. Investigation kit. Do I have an investigation kit on them? I have a forgery kit, a survival kit, and a voice magnifier. Okay, so we chose the survival kit. Voice magnifier. What was that for? Influence. Alright, so this person's going to be influence, observation, melee combat. That sound right? So I've got 15 left to get up to 2 in melee combat. That's 2. To get up to 3 in observation. That's 5. I have 8 left. I'm going to bump them up to a 3 in melee combat. That's going to leave me with 5. And what else? Forgery kit, survival kit, and voice magnifier. What was the forgery kit from? Deception. We're going to get rid of the forgery kit. We're going to keep the voice magnifier and make it a 3. That'll take up our 5. That's a cool character. Influence, observation, melee combat. They're a little bit of a scrapper, but they see things and they want to be able to influence things. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, that overlaps with the Baru that we just made. Maybe we want a deception instead. Deception, disguise kit, confidence guild membership, or forgery kit. We'll just make this person a forgery kit instead. And we'll switch up their influence and deception. Yeah, there we go. All right, think we're good. Pistol, though, that would have cost something. Yikes. All right, we're gonna have to. What do we want to back down on? I'm out of. You know what? It's not going to be a big deal. I'll just leave the pistol there. They've got a pistol, but they don't really know how to use it, so it probably won't come up. I'll just consider it. They're a little unbalanced. Little 1 fortune out of balance with everybody else. I think it'll be okay. These are only playtest characters anyway. All right, keep going. I'm almost done. Okay, who do we have now? Lama Shi, a Yojin apprentice. Also start off with 40. Human. Let's see what they chose. If I can tell what they chose. Humans, yes. Water Yojin, yes. Ground control, yep. Nothing tells me yet what they chose. Okay, what are the human options? Alright, human options. Force of will, +1 will. Residual instincts, +1 vigilance. Marathoner, +4 dice. Team-oriented, work well in groups. Driven. I didn't have any of those things on the sheet, so I'm assuming +1 will or +1 vigilance is what they had. 1, 2, so it's not vigilance. I'm going to assume it was +1 will. There we go. And like I said earlier, I'm going to take the Neo-Babylonian origin where you get +2 to your skills. That we don't have to deal with anything. And they have an authoritarian impulse, which I believe is a negative for Neo-Babylon. So that's what she took. Authoritarian. There it is. Great. Staff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in paradigms. And attributes. +1 will, so he starts at 1. So moving up to 2 would be 2. So that would be 30. 1 charisma, 29. 2 awareness. 1, 2, 3, so that would be 26. 1 wit, 25. 2 brawn, 1, 2, 3, so down to 22. And 4 agility. Yikes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good for you. You're agile. So 2, 6, 12, -1 from the rider jacket is 11. 1, 2, 3, +6 is 9. 2, 3, +6 is 9. Brawn plus will, 2, 4, +10 is 14. Plus bonus health from the rider jacket is 15. Good. Max health, or max grit, 3, 3, 3. Great, great, great. Everything's good. Yeah, her agility is quite strong, Palmer. Yojin made her that way. Let's see here. Bumping everything up. She's arts, humanities, observation, melee, and sublime. Let's see if I can remember that. All right, got 12 points. Sublime. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 7. Seven means that I get to bump one thing up to 2 and bump one other thing up to 3. How about... She doesn't need physicality because Yojin's special ability allows them to use their sublime arts plus instead of physicality, so we'll leave that. Melee combat, maybe. She's got a staff, so maybe we'll make her melee combat be, well, do we want, see, I will not act unfairly to anyone. I will respect the world and nature as much as any person. I will trust in my body and skills over everything else. And I want to become a Yojin master, and I'm an authoritarian. Does that scream I would have more melee combat or more artistic or humanities? I think that sort of says to me that she would be more inclined towards arts and humanities. Yeah, that feels right to me. And her sublime arts, well, actually, she'd still have to pay for this rider jacket. So arts would be at a 2. And I'd still have 2 left, so I could bump something else up to 2. So let's say sciences. Yeah. Okay. All right, you're good. can do this. I can do this. 3 more. 3 more. Woo, woo, woo. Ikun Pasha, human explorer. Trained observer. How many languages? Got that. You're authoritarian. That's your downfall. All right. We're going to give you the typical 42 that we've been giving everybody else because of the stuffy stuff. Trained observer. What was that? That must be some sort of human thing. Let's see what it is. No, it's not a human thing. What is it? What is trained observer? Oh, must be. Is it a background? Maybe. It wasn't very clear. So Control F for trained observer. It's not there. Okay. Well, then delete it. All right. So what do we want this human to have? How about +1 will or vigilance? Let's do +1 will, because that's been easiest. All right, will, done. 0 charisma, done. 1 on brawn, that's 1. 6, 6, 6, that's 18, 19, 20 total on attributes. Easy. I see you have a rider jacket, 21. I see you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 spent on paradigms. So you have 10 left to spend on skills. Observation at 5. Or it'll cost 5 to get to 3. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I'll have 1 left over. Then I guess we'll bump this to Charisma's 1. Done. Done, done, done. Why does it say Fortune 10? It shouldn't say anything. I wonder if they all say something. They do. Why? Shouldn't see. Well, anyway, you can Pasha, you're done. 2 more! 2 more! Hunker down. I can get this done. This is Buzazu, who, if you look up Buzazu, Babylon, you'll find that Buzazu and his family were a noted merchant family from ancient Babylon. And they are known because some documents from them are discovered about them talking about their life and complaining about various people. It's kind of funny. Anyway, they were dodging imperial taxes That's one of the funny things we know about them from history is that they were sort of not bandits really, but they were merchants who dodged imperial taxes in various ways. A whole family of tax dodgers in ancient Babylon who wrote letters about it. That's why we know them. funny group of people. Anyway, that's where the inspiration from Buzazu came. Underworld contacts. Is that a thing? Let's find it. Underworld contacts. Why do I have stuff written here that's not here? It's probably from background. I'll just leave it. Buzazu, you've got that. You've got Contemptuous. That's your negative. We're going to, again, give you the same fortune boosts as everybody else. And you're an orc. So what lineage choice are you going to get? +1 brawn. +1 awareness. Destiny through passion. I kind of like that one. I think I'll give him the +1 Aegis. All right, let's spend your attributes. Or spend your fortune. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Just 4 paradigms. And 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, leaving still 20 for skills. I like Buzazu. He's conservative and gets shit done. Brawn plus will. 2, 4, +10, 14. Yep. Plus the rider jacket. Minus the rider jacket. Always forget the rider jacket. Right? Max crit. 3, 3, 3. Yep. Good. 2 + 2 is 4 + 6 is 10. Yep. Minus the guard penalty from the rider jacket. 9. Correct. 2, 2, 10. Yes. Whoa. Why is this vigilance 13? Where's that coming from? I don't know where that's coming from. Where is he getting 13 vigilance from? I bet. Nope, I don't know. Is there a Babylonian thing that says you get vigilance? No. Why does this dude have 13 vigilance? Something's wrong. What is it? How did he get that? Personalized gear. +2 applicable skill, no. Data system, no. Target opponent, no. Sense of smell, no. I'm not seeing something. What am I not seeing? How odd. Well, I don't get it. Whatever the build was last time, I seem to have misplaced it. So, you get a 10, just like everybody else. Sorry, buddy. 2 + 2 + 6 is 10. There you go. How weird. Something. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh well, it's fine. Alright. He has Deception, Small Arms, Cybertech. But he's got 19 to spend, so let's see. Cybertech costs 5. That brings him down to 14. Small Arms cost him 2. Bring him down to 12. Deception will cost 5. Bring him down to 7. And bumping up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, bumping up influence to 2. That'll be 2. Bumping up observation to 2. That'll be 2. 3 left. I can bump up melee combat. Nah. I can bump up one of these to deception. No. Influence or observation. I'm going to say this dude's observant. We'll call it a day. Yeah, Buzazu. You go, sir. We're good. We're good. We're good. Last one. Asher the Mutt. I'm glad that he's the last one because he's the one that we had the most problems with in the first play test. He's the one that the person playing him didn't have fun with because we made him basically an artist. The person said like, ooh, Asher the Mutt. He's a dwarf. That sounds awesome. But didn't really see or willfully didn't see that this dude was an artist. And so he kept getting frustrated that Asher the Mutt, the dwarven, guy, couldn't do anything in combat. And that frustrated him a great deal. So we're going to make him a little bit different, I think. In that we are going to... Plus, I think artists are going to work better in campaigns versus one-shots because artists do a lot of grit work. They do a lot of community work, and that doesn't really come through in a one-shot where you don't get to really do any downtime activities. So we're going to rework Asher the Mutt quite a bit. First of all, we're going to get rid of his name. We're going to call him Asher. We're just going to call him Asher because the Mutt makes him sound more badass than he is. He's an artist. He's not a badass. So we're going to start off by giving him the 42 that we give everybody else. Let's see what we have for dwarven lineage options. Toxin resistance, no. Lessons from the ground, +1 brawn. Meh. You and your family are smaller and less stocky than most dwarves. When rolling stealth or making a tight fit, reroll 2 dice. Nah. Monstrous heritage, you grow moss or grass in place of hair. No, that doesn't feel like him either. We'll just do +1 brawn. Blah, blah. That's kind of boring, but we're going to do it anyway. So +1 brawn. There it is. And he only speaks 1 language, so that's his negative. All right, let's go. +1 brawn. Got nothing to do it, so that costs 1 for agility. 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 17 total for his attributes. All right, 1, 2, +6, 8, perfect. Wait, guard penalty -1. There we go. 2 +3 is 5 plus 6 is 11. Where is that vigilance coming from? Why is everybody having extra vigilance? Don't know. All right, moving on. 1 +3, 4 +6 is Be 10. There we go. Brawn plus will. 1, 2, 10. What's going on? All these are wrong. 3. 3. 3. -1 for the rider jacket. 24. And -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 for the paradigms. Now he's down to 14 for his skills. He's got arts, rank 3. That's going to be 5 off. He's got humanities, rank 2. That's 2 off. He's got influence at 2. It's another 2 off. So we can make one more thing into a 3. One of these into a 3. Let's say this into a 3. And one more thing into a 2. Let's say... Again, because he had such a bad time last time, I'm going to throw him a bone and give him a 2 in melee combat, just so that somebody, if they have to fight, I like the idea of him swinging his guitar around and doing it that way. So yeah, he's got a guitar. You can smack people with a guitar. And there it is. Done. Asher. Done. Okay. Now what we do. Now that we're done with all of that, I need to come up with an alternative document that is easy to read, short playtest rules. So it doesn't have all the other stuff. Did I do this already? And this is what's here. Yeah, but it wouldn't be updated. So this probably requires some thought on my part about what to put on here and what not to put on here. So why don't I select all of this, delete it, and start over. Big questions for this playtest. Here we go. You know what? That was dumb. Let's not delete everything. Let's delete almost everything. Don't need the introduction. Don't need the glossary. Don't need the basics. Do need the game system. So we're going to select all of this. Doop doodly doop doodly doop doop doo doop doodly doop 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 doo. I don't know how much of this I'm going to need. I'm probably going to post this on our Discord for people to tell me. Maybe it's just my brain is just not working. Maybe it's because I've had like 3 or 4 glasses of wine. I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm done. I need help. All right, that's where we're going to have to stop because I just realized that like I just don't have any gas in the tank anymore. But thank you guys for being here. This was so helpful. You all were so very, very helpful. I really do appreciate all of you who were here. So I think we're gonna end it there. And who knows? I like doing this. I haven't been using this channel for this sort of going live stuff, but it's been pretty cool. I think it's also been kind of fun to have people be able to see the process and how we do things. So I'm going to leave this all here. and then I'm going to talk to the folks in our Discord about what they think needs to be in the short playtest rules, because again, so I'm going to end there. Thanks everybody. Hope you have a great night, and again, feel free, if you're not on our Discord, Fragging Unicorns Discord, please join us and, contribute to the fun. Otherwise, go buy Gangs of the Undercity PDF, which is now available on DriveThruRPG, and keep following us on Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And follow the Jawas, because they say that you want to hang out with us as well. Ford, it's been so good to see you. And Tom and Palmer, I appreciate you. And I don't know if Aaron is still around. I don't think he is, but great. Austin, thank you so much for your input. Also, Larry, it's good to see you there. Good to talk to you guys. I don't know if anybody else was here. I think Obi, or Zerobi, Obi. I hope I'm saying that right. I hope I'm not offended. And Tim, yeah, good to see everybody. And we'll talk to you later before this gets any more awkward. I'll blame it on the wine. Bye, everybody. This is so awkward because sometimes I'll push end and it just won't end. But now it will.